over here right now! I said no!
We're here to represent, to spit right in the face of the establishment, and you want to believe.
Hey, what's up people? We're back at it again with another review. Now, this has been a show I really wanted to talk to you guys about for a while now, and I finally got a chance to some time to talk about Dan Versus and my thoughts on the show.
If I want something sweet, I'll have candy. Like an adult.
Dan Versus is a show that was created by Dan Mandel and Chris Pearson. You might also notice that they both decided to use their respective first names for their main two characters in the TV show.
Strange, I don't remember doing that.
Dan Versus premiered on January 1st, 2011, so it's coming up on 7 whole years since the show first aired on the Hub network. Yeah, you know the Hub, the channel where everyone would go and get all their excitement and for anything Hasbro related, and you would have other shows, or some people would go and watch shows about ponies.
I'm Brony, leave me alone.
Maybe some Little Miss Pet Shop, along with many other shows that they had at the time. Along with those shows, we also had this show called Dan Versus that kind of went less noticed and flew more under the radar. This show was pitched for Cartoon Network's Adult Swim, but was sadly rejected.
Wow, that's just...
Well, that's their loss. Even though the show has a PG rating, it does a nice job not being depleted and still getting around the censors pretty nicely.
It has an edge to it.
It does sometimes go into deep surreal plots about battling demons, supernatural forces, and some things more on the pittier side like golf, traffic, and hey, even the DMV. But at the end, it's usually Dan and Chris putting a stop to whatever crazy trouble they find themselves in. The show is about a man named Dan, who always feels like the world is out to get him or against him. Most episodes usually start off with him trying to just go through the day, and wouldn't you know it, some annoying factor shows up to ruin Dan's day. And it would be up to Dan to try to put a stop to whatever is bothering him or causes his inconvenience. A lot of times Dan will be trying to take on things that most rational people would find relatable, but other times it's him against things that are way more over the top ridiculous, like a dinosaur, George Washington, or hey, even the whole freaking country of Canada.
And Curtis Armstrong's Dan can always count on help from his trusty sidekick Chris, played by funny man Dave Foley.
Chris always wants to be the nice guy, so he'll do anything to avoid being told he's a bad friend. Would it be fair to say you're a jerk and I'm a doormat?
That's a very
yeah.
good way of putting it,
Yeah.
actually, yes.
Thanks for helping me, Chris.
Moment, Chris.
Alongside Dan is his best and nearly only friend Chris, who is always getting dragged into Dan's crazy squabbles and gone wrong fiascos he puts himself into. Chris's wife Elise is sometimes present in Dan's schemes and usually tries talking some kind of sense into Dan, which tends to never work because Dan never takes Elise's advice, which is a big mistake. Sometimes Elise will play a bigger role in the episode if it ties in with her undercover job being a super skilled secret agent, which can come up and really clutch for Dan and Chris as they usually are in over their heads with many problems they must face and deal with. Each episode will be somewhat formulaic and following a certain degree of a set formula. Dan will be relaxing, something then gets in the way, Dan drags Chris into the problem to help, and then by the end of the episode, they find themselves way over their heads.
Come on!
As odd or bizarre it might seem to what Dan is facing at the start of the episode, by the end of it, the problem usually escalates to a whole new level of crazy and wackiness that Dan and Chris are trying to find themselves trying to defeat or even just to survive.
Saturdays, showtime.
Dan.
Feel the wrath of Dan!
Dan.
Thy name is Dan!
Dan Versus. Watch full-length episodes on hubworld.com/videos. It could happen only on the Hub.
We're back to Dan Versus, right now on the Hub.
The animation is done in Flash, but despite that, it's used very nicely and well done. It's not the best ever, but it's done at a level where it's very unique and greatly enjoyable. I would have to say it's a big portion of the show that's carried by its wonderful voice acting and great dialogue that's being used to keep the show moving at a nice pace.
Wow.
And also to keep things very interesting for the viewers. I also love the hand-painted backgrounds that will be used from time to time, and even capturing nice landmarks that can be found around the Burbank, California area. Dan Versus lasted a whole 3 seasons with a total of 53 episodes to choose from. The series is on Hulu, so you can watch it there or you can download them off of iTunes. Also, there's a season 1 DVD release with the first 22 episodes. I would say 4 of my favorite episodes would be Dan versus the Fancy Restaurant, Dan versus Technology, Dan versus Elise's parents, and we cannot forget Dan versus Stupidity. They're all great episodes in their own right that are worth a watch to see which are your favorite and which ones you enjoyed the most.
Let's roll.
Dan Versus was a great black comedy show, and I really wish more have heard of it. So yeah, that's pretty much all from me. And yeah, if you liked the video, try to drop that like and subscribe or whatever. Hey, you know, it's cool. And this has been Cory. Cory out. Peace.
Has this ever happened to you?
Oh, come on!
How about this?
Hey!
Or this?
In your face, zombies!
Probably not this.
If you're gonna probe anyone, probe Chris!
Because things like these don't happen to most people.
Ow!
They only happen to Dan. Dan Versus. Only at the Hub. Check local listings.
Where sweet and revenge come together.